With the recent events of the manga, we probably have seen the last of Higuruma. But unlike characters like Kashimo and Yuki, I believe Higuruma was given enough time to truly flourish. From his phenomenal backstory, to his gut-wrenching fight with Yuji, and now to his contribution to the fight against Sukuna, it's clear that Hiromi Higuruma played his role to the fullest, making him the perfect Jujutsu Kaisen character. It all started from his introduction back in chapter 159. But before that, please leave a like, subscribe, and if you want to see more, comment your thoughts at the end. Higuruma was seen and mentioned in chapters prior, but we didn't really see him until 159. And this is great, because from what we saw of him before this chapter, he was grouped in with Kashimo as a sorcerer who had a lot of points. Thus, we saw him as a threat and someone to take down. This is a wonderful way to play with our expectations, because when we do officially meet him, we're greeted with what I believe to be one of the best chapters in JJK and my favorite backstory from the series. And it's all in one chapter. I'm not going to do a full play-by-play summary, but in short, Higuruma is a calm and collected character with a little bit of charisma. He's a genius and his goal is simply to bring justice. He can't leave things alone if they aren't right, and refuses to close his eyes on those that cling to him. This is all seen as he takes tough cases that seem impossible to defend. And he's failed before, but this time was his final draw. His client was truly innocent with the evidence to back it, but our retrial was put in place and he was found guilty. In that moment he breaks and awakens as a Jujutsu sorcerer, killing the judge and the prosecutor. Let me remind you, this all happened in one chapter. In just a few pages we learned that he's a calm man. He goes about things logically, but can't help but go down the path that he deems right to help others. But when he's pushed to the brink, he throws away his trust in the law system and follows his own justice. This is just outright beautifully written. And following this up with his fight against Yuji, where he states that he wants to keep the killing games going due to them having real rules unlike the law system, just further cements his ideals. But here's where I'd like to raise an argument. Higuruma is a parallel to Yuji. We should all know by now that Yuji's character arc follows him having these ideals, these ambitions that get shot down pretty hard, until he realizes he's just a cog in a machine of something bigger. If you look deep enough, you'll see that Higuruma is the exact same way. In his days of being a lawyer, he believed that all people are flawed. Yes, but it is that impurity that makes them beautiful and worth cherishing. This is why he takes on those uphill battles as a lawyer. He can't let those citizens fall into suffering when they don't deserve it. This ideal of his is comparable to Yuji's at the beginning of the series. He wanted to save as many people as he could, allowing them to die good deaths. Shortly after declaring this, he meets the principal of the school and then realizes such a goal is too shallow and he reforms it. But even that wasn't enough. As we all know, Yuji meets Mahito and that causes a downward spiral of Yuji's mental stability until he realizes that his goal was entirely too naive. Higuruma meets a similar fork in the road. In his flashback, we see that he has failed before as a lawyer, but the chapter ends with him failing a second time, when we knew for a fact that his client was innocent. Instead of realizing this is just the way the world goes and just sticking to his position, Higuruma snaps and decides to enact his own justice, as I said before. The difference is, instead of meeting a force like Mahito, Higuruma meets Yuji. In their altercation, he comes to a new outlook. You see, Higuruma's curse technique and domain are a representation of his discontent with the law system and a personification of his justice. Yet when he fights Yuji, he sees an error in himself. Yuji isn't a bad kid and wasn't truly the cause behind all those murders, but was still sentenced to death. Higuruma tried to ignore it, but he couldn't help but give in to his natural self and do what he thinks is right and stop the suffering of the flawed but innocent. Both of these characters have genuine and good intentions that are denied by the world of JJK. Now coming to terms that he was wrong again, he leaves, planning to turn himself in when it's all said and done. Of course, he does come back and this time help fight against Sukuna with his new resolve. Just like Yuji, he now knows where he stands in all of this. He too is a cog. Naturally, Yuji questions him, wondering if he has a death wish. Though not exactly, Higuruma is a man who has sinned, as he abandoned the law just as the law abandoned him. If there is any way he should go out, it should be like this, on his own terms. Once again, mirroring Yuji, as he too at one point was willing to throw his life away if it meant everything would turn out right. So much so that he has gained some dislike into himself just like Yuji, stating that he's become a man who can't even look Yuji in the eye. This unfortunately does lead to Higuruma's death, but unlike Kashima's, I think this one was done really well. It all goes back to Higuruma and Yuji's current ideal and one of the main themes of the story: play your role. Unlike Kashima, who died in a fight that didn't seem winnable at all, Higuruma had people with him in a clear condition. Not only this, he was evolving as the fight went on because he's a genius. Sadly, you can only do so much in the face of evil itself, so he did as much as he could, coming to terms that his role was to simply assist, passing on the torch to Yuji to finish the job. It took them both multiple tries to come to such a demoralizing and grim reality, but as soon as they did, success seemed attainable. As of writing this video, it is unconfirmed if Yuji succeeded. If he doesn't, that'll definitely hurt Higuruma's legacy, but nonetheless, he has cemented himself as one of the best written characters in the series. He is a perfect embodiment of the theme of the story, yet was an imperfect man that fought for something that was truly good. Such a compelling character, and I'm surprised JJK gave him this much time to shine, but I'm glad he did. This character was integral to Yuji's development and showcase, and it'd be a shame if he didn't exit properly. Once again, thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe and comment what you were thinking throughout the video. I'll see you next time.